What's up guys, Kevin here from thesportsgeek.com, and in this video I'm going over my DraftKings NFL Week 12 Thanksgiving special picks. Quickly before we move on to Thanksgiving picks, let's take a look back at Week 10. It was a pretty good Week 10 for me. I sent out some solid plays. We had my number one QB wide receiver stack, Carson Palmer and Larry Fitzgerald. Palmer put up 29 points. Larry Fitzgerald put up 17 points, and on a normal week that wouldn't be great, but this week was so low scoring that if you had Fitzgerald with 17 points, that was pretty good compared to the other players at his price point. Then my second QB was Matthew Stafford. 20.38 points wasn't too bad given his price. Delaney Walker was one of my Thursday picks. He had a huge game. I think he was the number one tight end, if not number one, number two tight end of the week, and he had 21.9 points. And then Golden Tate was who I suggested stacking with Stafford, and he put up 15.1 points, which was more than Calvin Johnson actually, and he was quite a bit cheaper, so that was a good pick there. And then we had some busts. We had Charcandrick West, who a lot of people had, and he was really cheap. He had a good matchup, but he got injured and only put up 8.4 points. Lamar Miller was one of my top running back choices. Unfortunately, awful game for him, just 7.5 points. Travis Kelce, not too big of a bust for a tight end, but he put up 9.6 points. And then my defense was just awful, -1 points. I never suggest going too high on one defense. The highest I'll ever go is about 30 to maybe 40% of my lineups on one defense. You got to spread it out because defenses are so random. So I did have a lot of Eagles and they put up -1, which really sucked, but I did have other teams that did well without the Eagles. So make sure you don't stack one defense in all your lineups. So as you can see from this screenshot, I got a lot of emails again this week. First, I'll just go over my winnings for the week. I came in 5th in a $27 entry, so it was a Thursday contest. It started Thursday, ran through Monday. It was $27. I came in 5th and won $4,000. And then a lot of emails and YouTube comments from you guys. So congrats to these guys. We got Anthony. He said he netted $200 playing some contrarian and low-owned plays. John Kelly says he finally hit $2,000 payout in primetime games. So that was a great win there by John. Kale emailed me, said he made a couple hundred off of just $21. That's an awesome score there. Congrats, Kale. Bobby Gilmore, he cashed $485 on just $40 this weekend. He placed 17th in a GPP, so congrats to Bobby. And congrats to all you other guys who didn't email but won some money this week. Let's try to do it again in week 12. So before we get into my Thanksgiving picks, we've got a couple notes here. Forte and Alshon Jeffrey should be back for the Bears. Bradford looks to be back for the Eagles, with Ertz most likely out. And in Green Bay, you got to watch the running back situation there. The status isn't clear on who's the starter between Lacey and Stark. So you want to be checking rotoworld.com for injuries right up until the game times. And the second point I have here is Philly and Detroit and Carolina Dallas games are pick'em. That means both teams have about 50-50 chance of winning the games. And then Green Bay is a 9-point favorite in the night game. Those are just a couple of things to take note of when you're making your picks. And the last one here is with only 3 games on the slate, try to create a unique lineup in the big GPPs. This could be maybe going with 2 cheaper tight ends. Maybe you stack one game. So if you think the Philly-Detroit game is going to be high scoring, take a lot of players just from that game on either side. Or maybe taking a handful of sleeper picks and not even getting close to the 50,000 salary. Whatever it is to make a unique lineup so you got a good chance at winning one of those big GPPs. Okay, so instead of giving you guys the obvious picks, the big name players, I'm going to go with 3 sleeper picks this week. So I got Darren Sproles at 3,600. Last week he had 14.9 DraftKings points with Ryan Matthews out. He's a risky pick. He's had just 3 double-digit DraftKings point games this year, but with Matthews out, he does have a pretty high ceiling. He returns punts. He can break off a long run. He gets screen passes, that kind of stuff. And you could also pair him with the Eagles defense and hope for a punt return for double the points with Sproles. So again, risky pick, as all these sleepers will kind of be, but 3,600, take a shot with Sproles. So Devin Funchess is 3,900. I just want to give a shout out to Fantasy Labs. So last week they had one of these news updates in Fantasy Labs where it said 3,600, the gifted Funchess is a very sneaky GPP play. And because of that little update, I put him in a couple lineups and I stacked him with Cam Newton. Cam Newton had a huge game and Funchess had a pretty good game. So if you guys aren't signed up for Fantasy Labs, I've got a link to that in the description below. Also make sure you use the promo code SPORTSGEEK and you get 50% off their trial. So I'm going right back with him this week. His price is up $300, but still really cheap, and pricing doesn't really matter for this Thanksgiving slate. Funchess was on the field for 79% of offensive snaps, and that was a team high last week for receivers. He had 8 targets and caught 4 passes for 35 yards with a touchdown for 16.4 DraftKings points. He's capable of having a big game. He's a really talented player. And I think he'll be a little more owned this week after getting a touchdown last week, but I still think he'll be relatively low owned. Brent Celek, 3,200. So first of all, we got to make sure that Ertz is out. Brent Celek's normally the second tight end, but if Ertz is out, he'll take over the number one job. He did last week, and he had 14.9 DraftKings points, and he had 10 targets. In the week prior, he also had 20.4 DraftKings points on 4 catches, and that was when he was the number 2 tight end. So he does have a ability to score a lot of DraftKings points for us, and the Lions are one of the worst teams versus tight ends. So I like Celek this week. If Ertz is in this week, I won't be playing Celek as much, but I'll probably still have him a couple times in a couple lineups. All right, guys, that's it. Really short this week, just 3 sleeper picks for Thanksgiving. But if you guys like this video, if you want me to keep making them, if you want me to make a week 12 video for the Sunday, Monday slate, click the thumbs up button. If I can get 1,000 likes on this Thanksgiving special video, I'll do another one for the week 12 weekend games. And if you guys don't have my free lineup generator tool, make sure you click on the link in the YouTube description below. Get that absolutely free. And also you'll get emails with updates and other picks that I send out, usually on Saturdays. All right, guys, happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy the football on Thursday. And as long as we get enough thumbs up, I'll be back on Friday with another video. Cheers.